Here, no. I got you right here.
Okay. Would be funny though, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Sean Davis Show. Sitting here with Connor live instead of on the other end of YouTube.
Yep.
Or Spotify, the other end of the recorder. Welcome to the show. We're talking about today about the Sky Ice video. I'm going to play it here. There's 3 of them real quick. Found on TikTok. It's crazy. I don't really believe it. I don't really know, but some people do believe it. So we'll find this here real quick. If I can find, should have these ready to go. I'll post these in the comment section later at the end, just like I did last time. If y'all like that, that works out pretty good to do that. That way you all can actually see the videos until we get a screen share. We just lost it. We just lost Spotify for some reason. Get Spotify back.
Let's see if the app's working.
Try restarting this thing. How do you do that? Right here.
Yeah, right there. Power button and then go to click restart. Restart, yeah.
Yeah. We lost Spotify. We can get it back. But we'll wait just a second. So you watched UFC fights last night.
I did. Ah, man, some of the fights were pretty good. You had the doctor stoppage. Technically it was a TKO. Rafael Fiziev versus Matus Gamrot. The fight ended in the second round. Rafael Fiziev was winning the fight. He came in. He showed that he had great takedown defense. He got taken down in the first half of the round 2. Gamrot took him down, and Fiziev ended up getting back to the feet and was going back in and started back with the striking. And then after he threw I believe it was a right kick. He threw a kick, and it looked like he tore his ACL or whatever. He tore some type of ligament in his knee when he threw the kick, and that ended that. The co-main event was a decent fight. The Dan Ige versus Bryce Mitchell. That was a pretty good fight. The ending was Bryce Mitchell subbed Dan Ige with the rear naked choke, and I believe it was a rear naked choke.
Dude's got broke his foot.
Yeah. Rafael Fiziev broke his. He didn't break his foot. We thought he broke his foot last night when we was watching it, right?
Yeah.
He actually tore a ligament in his knee.
Oh, man. So that's the reason they had a big knot there on the side of his knee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He tore a big ligament. The fights were pretty good, though, last night. They're not as good as last week's fights. Last week's fight was pretty good. These were decent.
These were pretty good?
Yep.
I thought they were pretty good. Those girls, who's those girls, man? They went at it. I always like to watch the girls fight. I know you and Caleb don't, but, it's not very feminine. I agree. It's not feminine. Women shouldn't be fighting. There's one thing you can always guarantee. That's when those women fight, they're out for blood every time. I don't care who they are. They're out for blood. They're out to prove something.
Some put on a good show, that's for sure. The fights last night, they were decent. You got Spotify back up?
You got it back up. And we're live again on Spotify. Good. Back at it. But yeah, those girls, man, last night, they tore up. Who won that fight anyway? I can't remember the girl's name.
I can't remember the name, actually. I can look it up.
Yeah. But, that one poor girl, she was cut so bad. They was trying to wipe the blood out of her face. It's unrealistic. It was just unbelievable how the punishment that those girls take. I've seen a lot of guys in fights not take the kind of punishment that you see these girls dish out to one another.
So yeah, Rodriguez won last night. She finished Gomez, Michelle Waterson Gomez. That's who fought. And then I watched Brian Battle versus Fletcher, and that was a pretty good fight. Actually, I don't think that's the fight in the rear naked choke. I think Bryce Mitchell won by decision last night. Actually, yeah, he won by decision, and then you had those were pretty good fights. You had Brian Battle come in there, and he finished Fletcher by a rear naked choke. Hey, you just want to talk about the ice ceiling, huh?
Yeah. We'll play this video. Now we hopefully got Spotify going for the third time, and we'll see if it stays up.
I never really believed in Jesus or done the whole church thing, but I think I've seen the stuff you guys are talking about here. I just didn't know what it was at the time. I was in the Army from 1997 to 2000, and I was sent to McMurdo Station in Antarctica. I was a helicopter mechanic and crew chief, and they had volunteer tours open for guys to go there and work on the helicopters there. When they asked for volunteers, a bunch of us applied, but only me and one other guy got accepted. The application process had a bunch of questionnaires that we had to fill out, and we had to sit for a bunch of one-on-one interviews. It was mostly just a bunch of questions about what our interests and beliefs were. I was sent to McMurdo Research Station in August of 1998. When we weren't busy de-icing the aircraft and working on them, we had time to hang out with the scientists at the research station. The military unit attached to McMurdo was small, and we didn't have our own separate facilities. We didn't have a PX or media center. There was no chapel or chaplain, and we didn't have our own separate mailroom. We just had to share the same facilities with the scientists and researchers. So over time, I got to be friends with a few of them. They had two different kinds of ice that they worked on and studied. One kind of ice was the normal kind that we've all seen. They took cores of it out of boreholes in the ground. Just like normal ice, it was mostly clear or sometimes white, and it would melt into liquid water if it got warm. The whole area of Antarctica is covered in this kind of ice. But that wasn't their main kind of ice. The only time I ever saw them actually studying normal ice was when a film crew from National Geographic came by. The rest of the time, which was most of the time, the scientists were studying something they called sky ice. This stuff was totally different. We were never allowed to go into the laboratory areas of the station because the labs had to be kept super clean, and they said it would mess up their work if they risked letting too many people in the lab. But one time, one of the researchers that I was friends with showed me a piece of sky ice. You couldn't touch the stuff with your bare hands because it was so cold. And it wasn't clear or white like normal ice. It was solid blue. He said that's why they call it sky ice, because it was the exact same color as the sky. We had to wear our heavy, going outside gloves to handle it. I've never really believed in Jesus or done the whole church thing,
That's the first.
but I think I've seen
Yeah,
the stuff you guys are
That's the
talking
first video. That's the first video.
So it sounds like they found ice. It was either dyed or the liquid became blue. If it was even water, it might not even have been water. It might have been a different chemical or another substance, but being blue. So the guy said that the reason why they call it sky ice is because of the color.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe the reason why it's the color of the sky is because it is the sky?
I don't know. We'll watch video number 2, and then we'll think about it.
That's why they call it sky ice, because it was the exact same color as the sky.
Just what
We had
you
to wear our
said.
heavy,
Yeah.
going outside gloves to handle it. The stuff was so cold it would instantly freeze your skin if you touched it. I don't remember what temperature he said it was, but it was something like hundreds of degrees below zero, way colder than the normal ice that was outside. He had to carry it in a metal bottle that was kind of like a thermos. He let me play with a piece of it for a while. It felt lighter than a piece of normal ice the same size, like it wasn't very heavy at all. It almost felt like you could throw it in the air and it would just float back down. But I didn't try that, and it was also a little flexible when I tried to bend it. It didn't break like normal ice would. And even for a small piece, you couldn't see through it. It was solid blue, right from the surface. And here's the really weird part. It didn't melt into water. When it got warm, because we had it inside, it just started to shrink. It got smaller and smaller, but my glove never got wet, and there was no water on the floor. The stuff just turned into thin air when it got warm and vaporized. He said that was the reason why they had to study the stuff right there in Antarctica. You couldn't take sky ice back to America to study it because it was almost impossible to keep it cold enough during transit. It would always vaporize into air, and you'd have nothing left when you got back to the U.S. He said Russian scientists had discovered the same problem when they tried to take the sky ice back to Russia. So that was why they all had research stations in Antarctica. After maybe 15 minutes of handling the piece of sky ice, it was almost completely gone. Just a tiny bit was left. And my glove was dry the whole time. I've never seen anything like it before or since. And that's unusual, because I've always had an interest in scientific things. I think that's even why I got selected to go to Antarctica, because a big part of the interview was about science and what I believed about things. So I really thought it was cool to see something I'd never heard of before. The whole time I was at McMurdo, I heard people talk about the wall, like that was a special place. It's pretty common to find ice walls and ice cliffs all over Antarctica. The whole place is ice. but it's all just normal white or clear ice. So I asked my friend where they get the sky ice from, and he said it comes from the wall. That's why they call it sky ice.
The wall.
From the wall.
There's a
Yeah.
third one on there, right?
Yeah, there's a third one. We'll go with that one too. Let's go ahead and play that one.
So I asked my friend where they get the sky ice from, and he said it comes from the wall. I don't remember exactly how he described it, but apparently there's a huge wall of sky ice in Antarctica. He said it was hundreds of miles inland from the coast. I never got to see it myself because I was only stationed to McMurdo. I didn't get to go out on expeditions. He said it was the biggest natural structure in the world. He said that in the 1960s, the U.S. Army had a plan to bore a tunnel into the wall, but they didn't have a boring machine that could handle super cold temperatures. So they had a whole testing project in Greenland where they developed ice tunnels and invented new boring machines that could operate in super cold temperatures. But they did this whole big thing in Greenland just for practice. I'm not an expert on that, but that's just what he told me. Then once they had the new boring machine figured out, they brought it to the wall in Antarctica. He said that the machine bored a tunnel. I don't remember exactly, like 5 or 10 miles into the wall, but that they never broke through the other side of the wall, and that they still don't know how thick the wall is even to this day. And I'm probably not remembering this part correctly, but I think he said that at first, the floor of the tunnel was a solid rock, but after a mile or two in, the floor was sky ice. Like it was sky ice underneath after a certain point, or something like that. And apparently, the wall slowly builds itself back up after you cut it, because after a year or so, the tunnel had shrunk smaller all by itself. They had to leave the boring machine inside the wall because the tunnel shrunk too small to get it back out. And after a few decades, the tunnel was completely gone. Like that part of the wall was solid again. He said that now the scientists were trying to use technology to figure out how thick the wall is. He said something about putting earthquake sensors all along the wall, and that somehow you could measure the signal from the earthquake to see how thick the wall is, but he kind of lost me on that part. I never really thought about any of that after I left. It was really weird stuff, but I didn't think it was a big deal at the time. But then a few weeks ago I saw a map of the wall in Antarctica. Except the map was all flat and crazy looking, and it showed the wall going all the way up to the whole Earth. So since then, I've been trying to learn more about the sky ice that I saw, and the wall that I heard about, but I can't find anything at all. So now I'm really wondering if there could be a connection here, and that's how I found this group. So I hope that maybe some part of my experience will help someone figure something out.
And they get those, basically the flat Earth
So I
map,
asked my friend,
which
where
is
did they get
basically the UN map.
Yeah.
You ever seen the UN map? It's a
Yeah.
flat Earth map. It's weird, but you wonder why it is. But I don't know why it is. So, what do you think about that? That is pretty crazy, huh?
So I think it's very. I think the story itself. I don't know how believable it is though. That's the thing, because he muted his voice because he didn't want like anything ran back to him. He didn't want a face on it. He didn't really list any names. He a very secretive person. It seems like. I don't know if he just didn't want to be made a fool of, but the idea in itself, like the ice shrinks instead of vaporizing or turning into water, right? Or it more vaporized and turned into water. It's I don't
Turns into air.
understand.
Turns into
Into
air
air, yeah.
instead of water. Yeah, could that be where we get our oxygen from? If this story is true, I don't know if it's true or not. It could be made up. A lot of this stuff's made up, so it's hard to ever know for sure. Everything's made up. But excuse me. Okay. One thing that's feasible: if there is a dome over the Earth, and if there is like this ice, if it's made of ice,
Mhm.
which converts into oxygen as it melts, which provides probably a great percentage of our oxygen. Could I think technically speaking, I think scientifically speaking, I think most of it comes from like the rainforest and the great coral reef and all that is what we believe, but grass and everything else too. But if there was a dome around the Earth, it makes sense that when he bored into the wall, that after so far the dome was around it, because wouldn't it have to be all encompassing? Wouldn't it have to be, to form the dome? Wouldn't it have to be all encompassing if that is the nature of things.
Yeah, I mean that would be like a square almost, right? I mean, if you think about it, it's more of a dome than anything though, because definitely if they're claiming that the Earth's round, that'd be a good reason for them to call it a sphere at that point, right? So at
Right.
this point, like for it to be the dome and then the ice being the dome, right? Like that would be the firmament, right? That
You're right.
the ice would be the blue ice or the sky ice or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
Right? It's
The blue ice would be the firmament. You're correct. Yes.
so that's the reason why, like, that'd be a good explanation why we've never been to space or another. But he said that they wanted to use earthquake readers, right, to see how deep or how thick the walls were, and
Read it.
yeah, it wouldn't read it. But is that because there wasn't an earthquake at the time, or they just
You could create an earthquake at the time, or there wasn't or the substance. If the substance bends, would that absorb shock?
yeah, it would. That's true. That's true. But ice don't really bend though, does it? I mean, more
No, whatever this stuff is I just don't. I
don't
don't
make
know.
any sense.
I don't know. Jury's out on this one. I don't know. I'm not a. It's interesting. It's something to look into, but I just don't know about it. To be honest with you,
Yeah, I don't know how true or like the sources either. Like he didn't give like any like data information because he said this was like a real research team, right? Because that's how you get to Antarctica, right? You can't
Right.
really go there by yourself with a couple of buddies and research this. Like they didn't give like any documents or any form of footage or anything like that. So this could all just be made up by somebody on Reddit and them trying to sell it off as like something real,
right.
try to confuse and
Confuse people.
yeah.
I actually met someone who had flown over both poles, and this is the whole thing that bothers me about the Earth being flat or not. I personally met someone who had personally one of the few men on Earth who had ever flown over both poles. He was I can't remember his rank. He was a high ranking. He wasn't like general or whatever, but he was a high ranking
Officer of some sort.
officer, pilot of some sort uh, for the military, for the Air Force, and he was stationed at Antarctica for a while, for like a year, however long they stay there. It's like 9 months to a year. I can't remember. He told me exactly. He said the first 2 weeks he was not allowed to do anything. He was not allowed to go anywhere or do anything. When the plane landed, he was not allowed to grab his luggage or anything else because he said the oxygen was so low and the air was so cold that he would have froze to death. But he said the people there ran out in t-shirts and unloaded all his luggage and stuff off the plane for him in t-shirts, and they ran the entire time. But him, they said where he was not used to that environment, they immediately rushed him, wrapped him up in a coat, and rushed him inside and made him stay inside 2 weeks until his body adjusted to the temperature and the low oxygen level of that area.
So it's strange though, because you said he landed, right?
They landed.
If he landed and if it's that cold, do you think that even the plane would start back?
I guess they had some kind of special types of planes. They done some kind of. I know they done de-icing. They done all kinds of stuff to the planes down there. I don't know what all they done. But basically, he said there's very few military people, it's mostly scientists. So that kind of goes with this story. But this is the only guy I ever met. I sold him a car. I sold this guy a car. Now get this. This guy's up in his late 70s, 80s, right?
Yeah.
He comes in a canary yellow Thunderbird.
Okay.
You've seen those Ford Thunderbirds, the ones they brought back that look like the classic design.
Mm-hmm.
Comes in a canary yellow Thunderbird, convertible, of course. So it's all convertibles. I think there might have been some hard tops, but this is a cloth convertible. So he comes in there, and he's as tall as Nick. He is like 6'7", I don't know, 6'8". This dude is six. I think Nick's 6'9". But anyway, he's a very tall individual like Nick. Very tall, very proportioned, very broad and tall. Climbs out of this little bitty thunderbird, canary yellow thunderbird. He has a wife that's 4'7", if even that. I mean, this little broad, she barely came to his belt. I'm not joking. And they was the funniest little couple you ever seen. He was like way up here, and she was like way down here. And but they seemed to be really, really, really tight. And he told all kinds of stories about the Air Force and about his generals coming to see him and all kinds of stuff like that. You know, he was stationed in the Caribbean islands down there, one of those Caribbean islands. I can't remember now which one, but there's a base down there, and they hate Americans. Apparently, he said you don't never go there because they hate Americans. They hate you there.
Sounds surprising.
But anyway, uh, it was fascinating to hear that story. And then he said, I've actually flown over both poles. I'm one of the few men alive who's been to the South Pole and flew over it, and been to the North Pole and flew over it. So if that tells so he truly believes that the Earth is round. Because I'm asking him, I said, what do you think about the Earth being flat? And he said, he laughed it off like it's the silliest joke you ever heard, But now here's a guy who's been there, and he's speaking from experience, firsthand experience, and the rest of us are speaking from
Footage that we see.
footage and information that we get online, because we do not see, we do not know.
Yeah.
We've never been there, and with all the passes and security clearances and everything else, you got to go to Antarctica. You boys might get to go someday, but as far as us, we'll never be there.
I don't think Antarctica would tell us that if the Earth's flat or not, though. I think, the curvature of the Earth, him being a pilot, if he noticed an actual curvature, or if not, like maybe the sky is so tall and it's so long that they just go to a certain height that it just doesn't feel like you're rounding off. But that's the thing; it would feel like you're rounding off if you're higher up, right? That's the reason why I don't feel like we're rounding off here on the surface level, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. They say it's a 8-inch drop for every mile or whatever it is, and you have so many. You have so much droppage. The Chicago thing is one of the things that they shoot the laser from the other side of the Lake Superior. Which lake is there? I can't remember which lake.
The Great Lakes is in
It's
Chicago.
it's the Great Lakes, but I don't know which one it was. It's the Superior or Michigan. I don't know. Whichever one's right there next to Chicago. And they shoot that laser across and measure the distance. So, some reports say it comes up on the horizon. Some say it does not. Some say it shoots straight across there. And that is supposed to be the determining factor whether or not there is that 8-inch drop in that curvature. But I don't know. I have no idea if there is or not. I've never seen the actual test. Never actually done the test. So it's hard to say or know.
Well, yeah, too, like with the laser, right? Like it'd have to be a pretty strong laser for it to
To shoot that far.
Yeah, to shoot that far.
Yes.
And
This guy,
maybe,
and he said he comes from the wall.
and maybe like the distance isn't as long as it would need to be to show curvature, right?
Right.
Because it's only between the Great Lakes and 2 states, right?
Right.
So
No, I think is it between Michigan and Chicago there, or is it from?
it'd be between Michigan and Chicago. Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, yeah.
Because Michigan's on the left side, and Chicago's right there. Well, yeah, you know what I mean. But because if you think about like even Texas is 7, it takes a little bit to drive across Texas, right? It's like an hour, 2-hour flight between the tip to the top, and it's like that's even bigger than I think would be Michigan and Chicago combined plus the Great Lakes. Like the distance in between it had to be long enough to actually show a curvature on it, and I don't know. I think it's just I think the whole flat Earth thing and the ice, definitely the sky ice, that's definitely something we'd have to look into again. Because like even flying though, right? Like if you've ever flown in a plane or rode in a plane or whatever, it doesn't seem like anything's up there.
Right.
But maybe where it's cold enough in Antarctica, like it would actually freeze the atmosphere up, right? And you can actually like take chunks out of it. But like I said, I don't know it. I don't know if it makes much sense or not.
Right. Yeah, I don't know either. It's all kind of out there for me. I don't know.
What about the skinwalker videos that you're showing me? You much believe those? I see a couple
No.
of some animals. Me personally, I believe in skinwalkers, but like I don't know if the videos that you send me are actual skinwalkers, but the videos that I sent you of the dogs and stuff like that, 100% skinwalkers.
I
Those
think
are
so.
yeah, those are real.
I'm looking for that video right now, the Skinwalker video. Not the one from New York, but I think that's bullcrap. I think that's something else. I think
Like
that's
a
some
shooter or something.
that's an shooter or something like that. Unfortunately, I hate to talk about anything shooter wise on here, but I'm looking for that video. Let's see. Looks like all weightlifting videos. What was the name of that video? You remember?
Which one?
The Skinwalker one with the little dog and all that.
Oh shucks, I have no clue.
That's the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah. I mean, it should say skinwalker though up in the text. One second, I'm not going to find it.
Let's see.
But yeah, I mean, me personally, I believe in skinwalkers. I don't know if you've ever encountered one. I never have, but I think they're real.
Okay, here's a video of something that does the 4-hole 411 series of people disappearing in the middle of the woods. That is something that does fascinate me because you hear about Bigfoot and Dogman and all this other stuff. Well, I won't play this one, and I don't know about it. It could be fake. It could be another Blair Witch. I don't know. If anybody remembers Blair Witch, is a bunch of people running around the woods, with the camera and
Guy goes missing in Oregon, and the last thing he caught on camera is terrifying.
Oh yeah, I remember this one.
Deschutes, Oregon. Well, close to Bend, Oregon. I brought the 8-person tent or the 6-person tent. I haven't pulled this thing out in a long time, so I thought first of the season I should pull that out, give it a go. It's about that time. Sun is setting. It's about 8 o'clock. It should be dark out here in less than an hour. We get a little bit over into the trees. Beautiful night. Definitely gonna be turning early though. I've been woken up by it. Got noises. Yeah, you can hear it. It's up from that side. Sounds right outside the tent. There's something right outside the tent. That can't be. That gets us. That's someone's messing around with the rocks out there. Jesus.
It's just like
Leave me alone. Flashlight. I can't see God thing outside this night vision. Jesus Christ. I don't know where the chased me off. I'm wondering. The God darkness. Flashlight.
Suppose it's something Dixon.
Jesus Christ.
Guy goes missing in
Okay.
Oregon.
No, what's
Strange.
Yeah, Skinwalker person, Bigfoot, CGI. I don't know.
Here's the Skinwalker video I had. The dog. Remember?
Yeah, the dog. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. I don't know if you guys can much see it, but the dog is just smiling, and that's a picture of the video of the guy. But here it is. It's wide eyes, staring off into space. It's smiling really big. And it ends with this guy talking about the Skinwalker.
Yeah.
But
What's the one with the dog that mines and turns around in circles and all that kind of stuff? And she's
oh yeah,
oh yeah.
yeah.
She's
That's
like,
not my
not
dog.
my dog.
My dog don't know how to do that. Yeah. I think this one's it. Right?
Let me see. I'll know if she's my dog. Merlin, sit. Turn around. Turn around.
There it goes.
Lay down.
Yep.
You're not my dog.
You're not my dog.
You're
Yeah.
not my
Don't
dog.
know how to do no fucking trick.
Oh yeah, language, but oh yeah, but like this whole tent thing. There's all kinds of people get drug out of their tents, wild animals or this, that, and the other. And they disappear. Did you hear about the 7 hikers that was in Siberia that they think was aliens or Bigfoot or something? Some shows said they went missing in the 50s. Some say it was Bigfoot. Some say it was aliens. Some say it was terrorists or soldiers or I don't know, whatever. But did you hear about that?
I remember watching a documentary about it. It was it Siberia, the one that I watched. I remember watching something about a couple of hikers going missing, and
No, this was 7 of them.
so they had footage of it, right? Of them hiking to the trail. No, you said it was back in the 50s. I don't think I've seen this one, but I remember watching a couple of videos. These guys, they went hiking. They found a cave and they started exploring in the cave. And when they got inside of the cave, they kind of stopped recording because it kind of got a little bit tight in there. They wanted to save the batteries. They're other in the middle of nowhere,
was much larger.
and they just wanted to record their experience. And no one ever heard from them again.
Right.
I mean, there's a bunch of guys who go caving, and they find these cool, like it looked like people had been there before, but almost like rituals going on down there, and they never get heard from again. Do you think these guys might have been sacrificed? Or?
Could have. Sounds like he'd been sacrificed or ate or something. I'm trying to find the one about the 7 hikers. Oh, okay. This is it. The 50s. Let me see if I can get it up.
Russian hikers on February 1st, 1959. 9 Russian hikers set off on a much anticipated expedition through the Ural Mountains in Russia. The hikers became disoriented one evening and decided to pitch a tent and settle in for the night. Hours later, it is suspected that all 9 hikers left the safety of their tents and died in an unknown and mysterious fashion. 2 of the hikers were found dead near a burnt tree. 4 of the hikers were dead and appeared placed in a ravine. And 3 were found dead in an apparent attempt to get back to their tent. Another odd fact is their tent was cut from the inside as if they wanted to get out quickly. Several were found with grisly injuries, including missing eyes and a missing tongue. On February 1st,
So it almost sounds like they got mutilated, as in other than 8, right?
Yeah.
Or it could have. I don't want to say, like, I don't know what.
This one doesn't
9
say.
of them,
Yeah, 9 of them.
and they all died.
Mm-hmm. This one doesn't say about them being found in their underwear too. They're all in their underwear. So why on earth in the middle of Siberia would you run out, cut your tent, and run out in the middle? That's why some think that gunmen were approaching them. Others think it was, I don't know. Others think it was UFOs. I think it was Yeti, bombless snowman.
Man, do you think the Yeti? I mean, it'd be like a polar bear, though, right? There's no vegetation up there. They would probably eat whatever they can get their hands on.
This is too odd. Let's see.
In 1959, in
Here's
the
the
Erie
video.
Ural Mountains of Russia, a group of experienced hikers vanished under chilling circumstances known as the Dyatlov Pass incident. Their tent was found torn from the inside, and their lifeless bodies scattered in the snow, with baffling injuries like fractured skulls and internal trauma but no external signs of harm. Despite extensive investigations and autopsies, the cause of their deaths remains a haunting enigma, fueling endless speculation and captivating the world with its eerie and mysterious puzzle. In 1959, in the Erie Ural Mountains of Russia, a group of experienced hikers vanished under chilling
They
circumstances.
don't say anything
That's
about
a
them.
scary story right there, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah,
startling.
yeah,
What was this called? The 9 hikers.
yeah. The Darlow
in-
Pass incident. Darlow Pass. The I don't know. I don't know how to say it. The Valto.
There's a whole video on it right here. Right here.
Yeah. On YouTube.
Yeah, 14, 15 minutes. Well, I'll have to watch that on my way home tonight and listen to that. Try not to. But yeah, it's strange. I don't know if it'd be a Yeti, but then again, like.
That would bash their
what would-
skulls in.
Yeah, but then again, another, like you said, another video said that there was no like outside injuries. But then again, the other one said it was like missing eyes and missing tongue.
The other one didn't say nothing about them. That could have been part of the grizzly injuries. I don't know. They talked about the skulls being bashed in, but they didn't say nothing about them being out there in their underwear either. So whatever it was woke them up from their sleep and didn't even take time to get their boots on or anything else, and they froze to death. Somebody apparently had grabbed a lighter and lit a tree on fire to try to stay warm, and then the tree either went out or exhausted, its fuel source. But there's all kinds of reports of people being run off camping. There was in the land between the lakes over here, either on the Tennessee side or the Kentucky side. There was 2 hunters that got ran off. They claimed it was Dogman ran them off, and I'd like to talk to that guy sometime. He was on another podcast. If I could get his name, information, I'd like to reach out to him, get him on this podcast with us to tell his story, because it was pretty fascinating. He talked about going down. It was on the Confessionals podcast, by the way. Shout out to Tony Merkel and that group. Hopefully soon I'll get to go on his podcast. They told me they'd invite me on when they started scheduling again, so I could work out a schedule date. But looking forward to that. But anyway, he was on the Confessionals. He was talking about, he said Bigfoot was there too. And
Dogman and Bigfoot. Huh?
Dogman and Bigfoot. In this man's experience, he said, he thought that basically Dogman was like the hounds for the Bigfoot. Like a hunter goes out in the woods and you turn your dogs loose to run down your prey. And that's basically what
I don't know.
he thought was going on there. I don't know either.
I don't know how much I believe that.
Yeah.
Sounds a little bit like they're too domesticated, and you know what I mean?
Sounds like they're very domesticated.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that either. I mean, but I mean, it's an interesting story. It's his point of view. It's his experience. We weren't there. We possibly had a Dogman experience.
Yep.
And I was joking about it. And we were at a cookout at a bonfire, and we was all sitting around eating and everything else, and that thing started howling. And just kept coming over the woods of howling, snapping branches and everything else, then pushed over that tree up there, where that tree just fell for whatever reason up there on the hill. And
92?
Huh?
You think about 92?
No, I'm talking about
Up on the hill?
the night out there at Morris Hill.
Oh, yeah.
You don't remember that?
No, yeah.
With the thing of howling in the woods all night?
Yeah.
Yeah, we was out there, we was listening to a little bit of music. There's a bunch of us out there talking around the bonfire, and it was just now they've heard my story. You tell what you remember. But anyway, we was cooking s'mores, roasting some hot dogs, just everybody eating. And this thing's come up and started howling like a wolf. Remember? Just howling up there in the woods.
Yeah, because I remember you saying you thought it was like a coyote or something like that, right? But you said it. Yeah, we thought it was a coyote.
Yeah, we thought it was a coyote or a wolf or something. Yeah.
I didn't know what There aren't much wolves here, are they? Or at
There's some wolves.
there's
here.
wolves?
Yeah, there's wolves. And then I started making a joke about it being Wolfman, or not Wolfman, but Dogman. Yeah, I made the ex-wife mad at me for for
Well,
joking
we were
around.
young too, because she didn't want you like scaring us or anything like that. But
Right.
we were a little bit younger. Yeah, we also had another experience once where we went camping. Remember, and it was a bear, right?
Yeah, when
A
you all was
bear.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a bear in the campsite, and you all were in a tent by yourselves. Me and the ex-wife was in another tent right next to you.
Yeah.
There was all of you all was in one tent, and right there next to us, because all we had was those little pop-up tents at the time. We had no big tents, so we couldn't put all of you in the same tent with us. And we were in a state park.
Yeah.
Actually, Piggott State Park was where we was at, and we thought, it's completely populated. They'll be safe. Anything that moved, whatever I heard, woke up. Well, anyway, there's something messing around outside, and I think, oh man, it's a bear. So I'm afraid to grab my pistol because it's state park. I'm not supposed to have it in Tennessee on a state park, or at least I thought at the time. So I kept my pistol hid, and I grab the hatchet for splitting kindling.
Mm-hmm.
And I go running outside to run this bear off away from you guys in that tent with a hatchet. Well, I come running out and chase the bear off. And about that time, I hear a commotion right behind me, and I think it's another bear about to get my hind end. And I look around, and it's the park ranger, and he's chasing the bear. He's trying to run it out of the campground too. And he's on a mountain bike, and he crashes right there at your all's tent. You remember that?
Yep, I do. I remember that. Yep.
Yeah.
Why? I remember it a little seldomly, right? Because we all had, we all cooked out there at the campground, and I remember waking up and. It was Christy at the time, and she.
We won't say no names.
Yeah, that's true.
But
And I remember bits and pieces of that. We was pretty young. We was probably like younger than the cousins, huh? We were probably.
you was probably 6 years old.
Yeah,
and
we were young.
I can't remember if Logan was in the tent with you or not.
I don't think Logan was there.
It was Laura in the tent with you, but when she was 15, 16. But anyway, we were anyway that bear coming, and who would have ever thought about a bear coming in the campground? Yeah, there's bears in Tennessee, there's bears here in Kentucky, but who would have thought about a bear coming in and messing around? So
Yeah, because it was a campground too, but like it wasn't super foresty over there, or at least not inside the park, right?
Not really. It's runs road runs along the side of it and everything else all the way around through there. I mean, yeah, it's part of the Daniel Boone National Forest, so it's big. It's part of
That's
not
true.
Daniel, also
Piggott State Park.
Daniel Boone National Forest, and what's the other one?
Daniel Boone.
Uh,
Piggott State Park.
It's something else. It's called something River.
I can't remember.
I can't think of it either. But anyway, it's all part of the same area. But anyway, that bear came out there. Of course, I don't know what I was going to do with that hatchet, but I was going to do something, what I could anyway.
Yeah, but have you had any experiences of having after I told you my sleep paralysis story?
No, I have not. But I just had that incident where I went down the hallway and the light was on. That just ticked me off. And I said, "Oh no, you don't." I went and opened the closet door. I was ready to throw down with something. I don't know what it was.
See, like I'd always wake up and the light was on. I thought, my twin brother would just come in there and just flip the light on just to wake me up in the middle of the night. And no, apparently he wasn't. I don't know if the light just flips itself on or what happened, but I'm not going to go back through and retell the whole story again. But it's just a sleep paralysis experience of mine, and I'd woke up, or I thought at least I woke up, and there was a or what Dad explained to be the Hat, or well, I guess I explained to be the Hat Man, but I didn't know what the Hat Man was until he told me about it. I'd never heard of him. Never heard of him, and he explained it to me, and it's just the house he sleeps in overnight.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you think the thing came out of the closet?
Yep. Opened the closet door, came out, and sat right on my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very common. It happens to children. Yeah, it's very common.
Because I had looked it up, and it's like if you eat sweets before you go to bed at night, your brain's super active, so it's gonna, it's more opportunity for you to get sleep paralysis and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
like I said, man, you never know stuff like that.
The thing is that every one of them having doors always left open and the lights always on if it's on. So very few instances where the lights left on, but the door left open when you get up the next morning.
So it makes you think like what's actually going on here? Is this like a
If it's really sleep paralysis, it's not really a dream state because you're not getting up and opening up your door, unless you're sleepwalking. Yeah. Is that the only incident?
Yeah, that's the only incident I ever had for that.
But you complained a lot about your waking up your bedroom door being open and your
opening the
light
light
on.
on. Yeah.
You complained a lot about that.
Yeah, because I thought Kev was just coming in there just to wake me up, and
that's what we thought too. That's honestly what we thought.
Yeah. And it's super strange. I mean, I would love to do more research on it, but like I said, like I've never had another experience like that. It was just that one night. And what is the Hat Man, right? Like it's literal unknown besides like people waking up to him in their rooms and stuff like that, or at least they think that they're waking up to him. And like, is this a sign, or I have no clue, because I honestly couldn't tell you what actually happened that day. I don't know if it's a bad day or a good day. Like, it's just another day.
A lot of people see when he's sick.
When they're
Like,
sick.
yeah, like Tony Merkel's wife tells her Hat Man story, and she was sick. She was sick, and her mom had to leave her and go to. Her mom had to leave her and go to the pharmacy to get meds for her. And this was during the day, and she was laying on the couch, and she was sick. And he appeared like in the hallway, peeked around the corner at her. And I believe it was her story. You can listen to that on the Confessionals podcast. But anyway, she was sick when she had her experience. Do you remember being sick or anything like that?
I mean, I rarely ever got sick, to be honest. I mean,
No, you weren't sick very often at all. After you had your tonsils out, you weren't sick at all.
Yeah, because I used to have tonsillitis like all the time, or at least strep throat. No, I don't remember being sick. Maybe I had a headache or something like that, but like I said, it'd be something memorable, right? Something small.
I did see a shadow person once to their house at the old trailer there at Dad's. Me and the ex-wife was sitting on the hood of her car, and we were discussing. I don't know what we were discussing, but we were outside talking, looking at stars, and the living room light was on in the trailer, and we seen a figure of a shadow walk across there of a man or a person walk across the window. So something walked in between the ceiling fan light and the window inside the house, and there was no one there. So
we had a
she wouldn't spend the night there. We went. No, she wouldn't spend the night there no more. No, she went up to mom and dad's and stayed. Yeah, she would not stay there.
Me and Caleb, we had an experience camping one time with two of our older brothers and then a couple of our cousins. We not a paranormal story, more of a creeper incident. We told you about this back down at the lake. Was it New Fall Creek now, right? Mm-hmm. Back where Logan lives.
Yeah,
that area, New Fall Creek. So the campsite's up there on the hill, and the park, the little play area is down there at the bottom. There's an older scrawny man, probably 80s. He was fairly old, or at least he looked old. And I assumed to be his children, a huge fat guy and a huge fat lady, or not a lady, but a fat woman. It was weird because we was all young. It was probably like 12, 13, something like that, super young.
Yeah.
But our cousins, right? They Phyllis's grandchildren.
Right.
They were younger than us, and they were trying to get us to all go get McDonald's with them. We didn't fall for that trick.
No, never really with no one.
So yeah, just make sure you watch your children because it even happens in small towns like this. And luckily, our older siblings were there, and they kind of ran them off. And so the park owner, or the ranger, or whatever he was,
It's a security guard.
security guard.
They have someone that they pay to watch for the campground.
Yeah, he
They get
ran
to
them off.
camp for free, and they watch them.
Yeah, that's another story. Paranormal, besides like on the at the old brick house on 92 that we used to live on. Besides like the doors slamming shut every once in a while, but you said that was just the vacuum downstairs.
It was
door.
anytime you open the door downstairs, all the doors upstairs shut.
Besides that,
Outside door, yeah.
I don't really have much paranormal, but I'm only 20, so I've not really lived long enough to experience much of that. But besides the whole Hatman thing, I don't really have.
But that's the only time you've seen him.
Yep,
Never seen him no more.
Never seen him again, or at least not that I can remember.
Some think he was a devil. I don't know.
Dude, I honestly thought that's probably what it was.
Really?
I don't know, right? Because I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just a dream. And you know what I mean? When you wake up from a nightmare or something like that, you kind of don't want to go back to sleep. Or
Right.
at least you don't try to.
Was I not home?
No, he was working that night.
I was working there.
Yeah. This is years ago.
That's so I was at Prairie Farms then.
Yeah, this is when you're still married.
Yeah. So I mean, I was probably 2016. So you was a teenager. How old was you?
I wasn't driving at the time.
So you was before you 16 or 17? Or?
Yeah. I was working at Wendy's though. I was working at Wendy's, so maybe I was driving at the time.
Really?
Yeah, maybe I was.
So all those years you had when we first moved in here, you never had no incidents. It was like the last couple of years.
Yeah, the last couple of years. Yeah.
You're 20 now.
Yeah, 29.
So within the last 4 or 5 years is when this thing happened.
Yeah.
You know, Caleb never said anything about having any kind of experiences here, but there was often times that we would all be in here and Hudson's toys would start playing for no reason back there in the office. You know,
the Mickey Mouse one, right?
Yeah, it would start playing for no reason. You know, in the toy box back there, and there were some different things like that happened. But so this was before the ex-wife left.
Yep. She wasn't living here.
Oh, she wasn't living here?
Or at least, I think this is after she moved out.
So there was no one here with you?
Well, Caleb was here.
Just you and Caleb?
Yeah, just me and Caleb, yeah. Still startled me enough not to want to get out of bed, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. You didn't holler for Caleb?
No, I didn't holler for nobody.
Yeah.
No, I just... See, when I woke up, because you feel like you're awake and then sleep paralysis is going on, right? You feel like you're awake, but you just can't move. And I could not move. And he slowly walked and sat on my bed, right? And I woke up. So
you said you felt him sit on your feet.
Yeah, he sat on my feet. Yep, at the heel of the bed.
Was it hot, cold, pressure?
Well, I always kept my room anyway. Pressure though, 100% pressure.
Like
something woke me up.
Like heavy pressure, or was it light?
I couldn't remember. I
because you said this thing was so tall.
It was tall,
Had to bend down to come to the door.
Bend down to come to the door, yeah. Yeah. Didn't have a face, or at least not a face that I can remember.
He was wearing a high collar jacket.
A high collar jacket and had like a little, not a fedora, but like one of those
top hats.
Yeah, top hats. Yeah.
Top hat or cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Because they're seeing them both ways, cowboy hat or top hat.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a top hat.
I don't know if, because like I said, I read something about like if you eat chocolate before you go to bed, or something sugary, like it would just keep your brain active, and I just thought maybe that's what it would have been. But
yeah. Well, I want to say, I want to throw a high wizards dress like that,
Mm-hmm.
High wizards dress like that, and they also astro project. So could Hatman be a high wizard astro projecting himself into little kids' room to create fear and feed off that fear like a fear energy vampire? Could that be what this whole phenomenon is? Is that why there's actual doors moving, lights coming on? And because sleep paralysis, that's a fearful thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it once, but I don't remember anything being in the room with me. I woke up one time, couldn't move. Now your mom, your grandma, not your mom, but my mom, your grandma claims that when her grandfather died, my great grandfather, when uh, for a minute, when he appeared at the end of her bed as he was dying, or after he died, that she had sleep paralysis for a second, and then she screamed and broke free and went to hitting Dad and couldn't wake Dad up. She said she was screaming and beating on Dad, could not wake Dad up while this whole thing was going on, transpiring. And, then he faded away as the telephone started ringing next to the bed, and that's what woke Dad up. The telephone ringing. But her yelling at him and smacking him. Misty never woke up either. Misty was in the crib. She never woke up. So, and he supposedly told her, watch after Granny, and left. But I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I mean, she believes it. She believes it 100%. But but I ain't going to doubt her story. But that's what she believes.
Mm-hmm.
But the high wizards. If you've looked into that, high wizards of Satanism or the cult, they call them high wizards. They dress like that. They dress in the 1800s looking frilly shirts and jackets with the high collars, and they wear top hats, and they dance around and they cast spells. I can't remember the name of that video. There's a video out there with one in it, and he's casting spells. I think it's a Pink video. Let me look it up real quick, see if I can find it on TikTok.
I mean, it's kind of got me thinking. Like, I don't know. There was a time to where, like, I would stop wanting to go to church and all that kind of stuff, and stop paying attention so much, and I just kind of felt just like off from it.
Right.
But maybe it could have been the devil trying to come in there and make a deal or whatever. But yeah, never accept something like that. You always got to trust your faith in the Lord, and He guides you and protects you. And luckily, got my faith back together, and I start praying more, and I've actually prayed, I feel like every day for a while, right here recently anyway. And that from the Hat Man is dropping down. I would love to hear about it, because I don't know what happened. I don't know who it was. I don't know. I didn't even know there was a thing called the Hat Man until I explained it to Dad. He told me about it, and I was never even heard of it before.
Trying to find this video, Pink song video with the magician. It's a music video with Pink, and she's singing something, and it's got a high wizard in it, and he's walking around casting spells in the video. And that's what they say Hat Man kind of looks like, but that's how they say high wizards dress. So. I don't know what. I don't know if I can find it or not. It's one of Pink's most popular songs. I can't think what it is.
This one.
Huh?
This one.
I don't know. What is it?
It says pink, just like fire through the looking glass.
I don't know if that's it or not. Scroll through it.
Familiar to you? Almost looks like Alice in Wonderland, almost. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe. I don't know if that's it or not. Yeah, it is Alice in Wonderland.
60 minutes.
I don't know if that's it or not.
I think your Spotify's about to end.
Well, that wraps up the show for tonight, guys. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening, subscribing, share the videos, and the Spotify podcast out wherever you can. thank you all for dropping in with us, and we'll catch you next time.